Jai Hind, welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Chins. Back with General Shankar for the weekend discussion. What's happening in the Indian neighborhood? A lot of concerns and a lot less people talking about it than there should be. That's all I want to say as an introductory, sir. I think that says more than enough. What would you say, sir?
Yep. The the strength of a country first comes from its internal strength. Now, if you go beyond that internal strength, it's the immediate neighborhood which has to be strong. And when I say strong, stable. If you have stability internally and in your neighborhood, the rest everything flows. And for a country like India, India needs to have its neighborhood in its grip, not control, under grip. There's a difference because you know Pakistan will never be under our control. Forget our control; it will never be under its own control. So, but it has to be under the grip. Okay, we have to be on top of the situation. We don't control them. We have to
Yeah,
be on top of the situation.
influence.
Whatever, right? We have to be alive to what's happening there, and uh, anything happening against our interests, we need to start acting. Understanding this is important, right? I mean, let me make the difference. All these are sovereign countries. Let them be. Let them be happy the way they want to be. I have no problem with it. But can they do anything against Indian interests? That's my interest.
Huge amount.
Yeah, whatever. If we have to be a rising power, which we are, we just have to believe in that. We have to be clear what's happening in our neighborhood.
True. Absolutely. Although everybody might think that I want to start with Pakistan, but I don't. Actually, I want to keep Pakistan for the center, so stay tuned for that. But I want to start with Sri Lanka first. Interestingly, that's been a quiet country, but the crisis is actually going deeper and deeper because two things. One, they're not able to crack the IMF code. Two, the China factor seems to be happening under the carpet right now. One of the biggest things that we see is that, I mean, there was a news that came out Sri Lankans are refueling Chinese ships in the middle of the ocean. So, there seems to be some game at the back end as well. How do you look at Sri Lanka currently and in the next few months? Because
Actually, that's an enigma for us. Okay, and we need to be
careful.
conscious of this.
Mm.
Look, refueling in the middle of the ocean and all is, a lot of big talk because you can't go and refuel a big tanker or something in the middle of the ocean. You need 10 tankers be right for that. So that let's leave that out. One odd case it might be for a small vessel. That's okay. But there are larger issues, what you said. They've not been able to crack the IMF code. Why? All their creditors have not come on a common platform to,
Platform.
to enable them to get the IMF. IMF
True.
has, I think, given them 2 billion or something close to that. They said, okay, we'll give it to you. They sanctioned it, but they're not dispersed it. Now there are three major creditors to Sri Lanka: Japan, India, and China. China is the biggest, but India has now become the most relevant. Their lifeline is India, but their deep entrenched, debt is with China. You cannot wish it away. There is an official debt of China, and there's an unofficial debt of China, which has been given through private people. Not sovereign debt. So both together is very hefty. It's a very hefty amount. So the Sri Lankans are actually in a huge debt trap. They're playing one debt against the other. Debt of China vis-a-vis Japan vis-a-vis. Now, Japan and India still don't make the debt of China. Okay. So there is a issue. They have to do things which China dictates to them to some extent, and they will do it. Let's not expect that they will can't do it just because you are giving them a lifeline.
Hmm.
In fact, you're giving them a lifeline has balanced the situation out. Okay. So that is one part of the story. That's a dead part. But there are other parts to the Sri Lanka story which we have to understand. Gotabaya Rajpaksha is back. We knew it. But yesterday, Basil Rajpaksha, his brother, got back. That fellow is a guy who's got dual citizenship.
Yeah.
He is supposed to be, he is being credited as the brain behind the Rajpakshas. He is back. Okay. Ranil Wickremesinghe is running on the support of SLPP, Sri Lanka Peramana Padujana, which is basically Rajpaksha's party.
Rajpaksa. Hmm.
Okay, so politically, the Rajpakshas are still controlling the whole story, but now through Ranil Wickremesinghe, who's got been given a little leeway. And he's not interested in, only looking at the economic reforms, he's not bothered about the political reforms.
Political
So
aspect of it.
the political issue is still alive. Okay, if it goes out of control, this Ranil Wickremesinghe will not allow protests to take place. He's going to deploy the army, navy, and the air force and go hard against them. So economically they are in a problem. Politically, it is absolutely still nothing has changed, except it has not come out to the open in the streets. Okay, a certain amount of easing has taken place in their day-to-day economic situation. Yes, there's no doubt. But there is a looming problem ahead, and the looming problem is their agriculture. There are reports which are that there could be famine next year. There are also reports, I mean, forget famine. I mean, famine might not, even if famine doesn't occur, there's going to be severe food shortages. You're looking at about you're looking at about 60% odd inflation running. This was in October. That's what they said. I mean, I don't know if it's only for October or before. Some news has said, but it's heavy inflation where putting food on the table for the common person is going out of reach. So we are. It's a Now the icing on the cake. Let me put this. No. This is what I heard. Read. There's a Sri Lankan military, team which went to Pakistan last week. I think one of the, I think the chief or the naval chief, it's a heavyweight thing, went there to talk. So their links with Pakistan, they're always there because Pakistan helped them during the war against LTT when we didn't. No, they're reviving. They have had the deep cricket ties also. If you remember, the Pakistan, there was an attack and all that at the when even a few Sri Lankans were this thing. So it's a enigma. That's why I said, गोली भी खाया वहां से वहीं उन्हीं को जाके हाथ मिला रहा हो, है ना, जिसका गोली उसका नमक है. भाई वो गब्बर सिंह का नहीं है, आपका नमक खाया सरकार अभी गोली खाओ. वो पाकिस्तानी ऐसे बोलते हैं फिर भी जाते हैं. I said they are going there at the insistence of China. We don't know. Even when the Yuan van came to Sri Lanka, there was a Pakistani ship in Colombo. So that equation has not gone. We need to be, I'm sure people are cognizant of it. Why we are discussing it? Because I thought, there's a good opportunity to put across things. So where does India stand? And what are we doing about it? It's not in public news, but we need to do something. If you put all these things together, the situation is not happy. It might be a little stable, but it's not happy. है ना?
Indeed, sir, because
your views. I mean, let me hear your views. You keep asking my views. Let me ask you.
No, for me, the Sri Lankan, see, ethnically, it becomes quite a challenge. There is no question about it, and that is it. It riles up a lot of tensions. Of course, there's a Tamil issue which comes up now and again. the Sri Lankan government to, I mean, there is obviously that rift between India and the 13th Amendment, which keeps things
Yeah,
away and apart. So that trust factor is obviously there, not there fully with India as well. If they don't trust us, we also don't kind of trust them in a large aspect of it. So that creates a bit of a challenge, and that's why I think that they'll try and balance that with Pakistan in some way.
yeah. On that, we should never have a doubt. After the history of the past 20, 30 years with Sri Lanka, trust is not a big factor between the two of us. Okay,
Yeah,
we have to build it. But at the same time, I mean, we shouldn't be alarmed of it also. All these can go only to a particular level. They still need us with IMF. They still need the Japanese and Indians with IMF, because with the Chinese help, IMF will not give them the loan.
that though.
Uh, yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah,
They want, see, the IMF says square up with China. Basically, when say creditors, it's square up with China. First, restructure your debt with China, then we'll give you. So that's why they have to do something to restructure the debt. China can't do any bloody restructuring because उनके पास खुद को पैसा है नहीं. We discussed it. वो तो खुद डोल, they are now in trouble. I mean, yesterday, I think you only sent me that news where people are running away from China. Rich people are running away from China, and housing is collapsing and all that.
Shanghai 40%
Shanghai,
something.
yeah, something like that. So, notwithstanding this Xi Jinping fellow becoming, president for life and all, China is China. It still remains where it is. In fact, sorry to digress, but let me make my point. Of late, I read articles, and mind you, these are assessments, not by airy gary guys, but people who are China based, people in the West, people everywhere, that the day of this China centric world and all is going. Now, very people are very clear that the American economy is resurged back. So China has severe problems as of now. Okay, uh, so I don't know how much influence they'll make.
No, that's true. So American
Yeah,
economy has taken a
yeah.
step towards
So,
the positive.
so
So
what we have done now is spoken of Sri Lanka, uh, the need
flip
for us to be. Yeah, let's
now.
flip where you want.
Okay, so let's hit to the obvious neighbor Pakistan. Um, the problem with Pakistan, and as a matter of fact, I don't know if you read what I wrote. So it was basically a blank article, and that's something I wanted to write. It didn't have anything as per se, but it described the situation. And somebody actually wrote back to me that this is the most apt description of the entire situation without saying anything. So I think that's what you've achieved, and that's exactly what Pakistan is today. There is nothing you can say which is new. It's a chaos within a chaos within a chaos. And I mean, of course, there are tactical issues which are happening with Imran Khan going on his march on the 26th. But the biggest thing that I see of today, and that's what the theme of what I wrote was the army chief, sir. Everything is centric on that. I mean, even MBS said, "यार तुम पहले अपना chief कर लो, उसके बाद मैं आऊंगा."
Pakistan, for a long time in Pakistan, one was clear what was happening. Today, I don't think there is a clarity on what's happening. Forget outside. I don't think there's clarity within. Look, we are talking of Imran Khan, Shahbaz Sharif. We're talking of Nawaz Sharif controlling the government from London. We're talking of the army chief, etc., etc., etc. But you open any newspaper, the reality of Pakistan is frightening because they don't have money.
Yeah.
Their economy is short. पानी नहीं है. Agriculture ठप हो रहा है. Okay. Uh, Look, they're just recovering from a major flood. In fact, they're not recovering from a flood. Let's put it the other way around. There's no recovery.
There's
Things are
no.
only getting worse at the bottom. Okay. So, and Their entire lot, their focus is on who will be the chief,
Cricket
what will
match.
Imran Khan do, cricket match, whatever. So what's it, Pakistan is at two different levels.
Yeah, there are two Pakistans for that
There are two
matter.
Pakistans. There,
Hmm.
no, I won't say that. I won't say that two Pakistans. Okay, in a way, there are two Pakistans. There's a Pakistan which is existing in the geopolitical and the political world. There's a Pakistan which is living in the world of poverty, uncared. No one's
People.
bothered. Okay, so and the funny thing is, the Pakistanis themselves, the people. I mean, look, everyone will get what the people want. Every nation gets what the people want. And the people of Pakistan don't seem to be interested in putting a stable set of politicians or getting stability into their country. They're more interested in, continuing with the politics than demanding that, they need their fundamentals. Anarchy. This is actually a state of anarchy.
Yeah, well, hmm.
But as far as I'm concerned, for India, this is one of the best states. I've
I mean,
always maintained that the best Pakistan is one which is
inward,
internally looking and they're happy with whatever they're doing themselves.
indeed.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about Pakistan, sir, and if I may, I think we spent about 2.5 or 3 minutes on Pakistan. I think this is the most incisive and concise discussion, even if I'm saying it myself, on, on Pakistan. Because the thing about Pakistan is you can keep talking about what Imran Khan's intentions are, because, or the army chief's intentions are, or this guy, you don't know, because the damn thing is so explosive. Today, if the army chief sits down with Imran Khan, सुलह होगी खत्म हो गया उसके बाद who cares? I mean, or the
Yeah.
other way around for that matter. It's
As far as I'm concerned, they can do what they want.
absolutely no
And personally, Adi, we can keep discussing Pakistan till the cows come home, but I think there are more important things happening in, say, Nepal or Bangladesh or
I
Myanmar.
want to go to Bangladesh, sir. Now,
Okay.
Bangladesh is an interesting country because stable, okay. There was a strong statement that was given by the Home Minister in the anti-terror conference that India will not tolerate this religious nonsense which is taking place. Thirdly, the movement of suddenly Bangladesh declaring to go to the IMF. That was tongue. What happened here?
Well, let's put it this way. I think all these we need to see that in Bangladesh there is an element who will always be radical. Look, you must understand this was East Pakistan once upon a time.
Jamaat Islami and all these guys.
They will be there. There will be problems. So but as far as they don't go out of the band of tolerance or the threshold of
Hmm.
tolerance, let the government deal with it. We need not get involved with it. IMF, they're going to IMF is, I think, a logical step for the simple reason Bangladesh is still energy deficient completely, right?
Hmm.
And with in this aid, their exports would have been hit by now because a large part of their exports were to China, right? And China is imports this thing. So their situation is not, uh, while not being desperate, is not rosy either.
Those either.
They are under stress. See, Bangladesh doesn't have industry. Their manufacturing or whatever it is more for consumerism
Jute
or
cloth. Hmm.
intermediate in base. They have intermediary industries, if I may say. In any system, either you hold the raw materials or the finished goods. The chap in between gets squeezed. That's what's happening to them.
True. Hmm.
Okay, and so in fact, few days back there was a newspaper news item which said that the Chinese are now again going to talk with Bangladesh for this projects along the Teesta, how to
He's
harness Teesta,
$1.2 billion.
whatever. So those talks are on, but that's only a newspaper thing. We don't know the actual thing. I'm sure the Indian government would have told Bangladesh lay off. Okay, but the Chinese being Chinese, they'll do all this. We must expect it. Okay, so I won't say the situation is very bad. I won't say the situation is very good in Bangladesh. To some extent, uh, I hope Bangladesh recovers from all this. Going to the IMF r- no- on a what shall I say? I wouldn't say a bailout. This is not a bailout.
Preemptive.
Yeah, to stabilize yourself is good. If you can stabilize through the IMF, it's good. And then the IMF gives them a leverage to tell China sorry.
Because their debt from China is not much.
No, it's not a matter of debt. China, they will be able to handle China then. It's
A s-
leverage.
Rather more stable economy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah, fair enough, sir. So, the connection between the next country I want to talk about is Burma and Myanmar. And the Rohingya issue seems to be kind of, it dies down and then it blasts up. Some incident will happen and it will just go up in the air. That is the connection between these two. And plus, of course, a big question about the coup. I mean, whatever said and done, these guys have been holding on. They've been sentencing after sentencing. The factor which everybody is worried about, and is, I mean, everybody doesn't speak about, if I may, and I am worried about, is we keep getting these hauls of drugs and ammunition coming on our borders again and again and again and again. And that to me is destabilizing a place which is rather more stable than what it was before. I mean, you've served there, so your opinion on this aspect, sir?
Myanmar will continue in this form for a long time because there's today virtually a civil war going on there.
Yeah,
Drugs will dominate that area because they've always dominated the area. We are talking about what's that, that golden triangle.
triangle.
Yeah. Okay. That place has a lot of poppy, and even China is involved in it. China has a problem of their own with this drug.
Drugs.
Okay. Uh, Beyond a point, China will not venture into Myanmar because I don't think they can control Myanmar. It's a strange case. Today you will have Rohingyas coming up. Tomorrow you will have something else, some other issue taking off. Uh, uh, so expect instability from Myanmar as a permanent state, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. Okay. Uh, there are a lot of money. Incidentally, Myanmar is a resource rich country, so they will not let go. The military will not let go. In the northeast, and if further, if you if one went back long further in history, the man who had the gun laid the rules. And if you go into you transpose this to Myanmar, the man who has the gun rules the nation. It's got money in terms of rubies, it's got money in terms of oil, it's got money in terms of gas, it's got water.
That's
So expect problems there. The democracy people are also getting armed. They're going into some kind of a, you know,
yeah. What's it called?
there's this,
NFW something.
yeah, okay, National Front for Democracy.
Something like this.
Now, they are also taken up to arms. There's sabotage going on, X, Y, Z. So this will go on.
Who breaks first? War of attrition, sir.
But I think I've always maintained, earlier also, I don't know whether we are doing enough. Because what the point you made is important. It destabilizes the Northeast.
I'm more worried
Drugs,
about.
weapons, uh, refugees, sentiments of people, because uh, the ethnicities on both sides of the border are the same. So we need to be a little more proactive, and I don't see that happening. That's my that's my basic
Very.
proposition, right? The government has to be a little more proactive. And look, no, Myanmar is important for the Quad. Myanmar is important for Russia. Myanmar is important for India. Myanmar has good relations with Russia. More incidentally, interestingly, uh, uh, Myanmar has maximum amount of Russian weapons. So why are we not using Russia to stabilize Myanmar? Why are we not using Quad to stabilize Myanmar? Why are we not using India itself to stabilize Myanmar? Why are we not using the local leaders of the Northeast to stabilize Myanmar?
That, yes.
So I think we need to revisit our policy of handling. In fact, today only I've written an article on the Chinese threat to the Northeast, or the Chinese strategy in the Northeast. Myanmar is a very critical part of that security paradigm. Okay, we cannot sit. I think if I have a problem with our government's policy, it's with Myanmar.
Myanmar. Absolutely. I would agree, sir. Absolutely.
Let me also tell. I had an interaction with a team from Myanmar some time back. Mm. They are very well disposed towards India. Interestingly, okay, and we are not making use of it. For some reason, there's some.
Crack somewhere.
Yeah, I think we need to. I have no doubt in my mind that we are missing the trick with Myanmar somewhere.
Somewhere down the line, sir, I find it to be very. I mean, I don't know if I'm correct, and I may sound a little hard headed when I say this, but I think India, somewhere down the line, doesn't want to be seen openly dealing with a military dictator or something like that. But
Look,
I think that's a notion that you need to get away from your head. This
it's not the fact that you're dealing with a military dictator or not. You don't support the military dictator. You don't support the Aung San Suu Kyi's democratic movement. We are not interested. We are interested in stabilizing the country and the people. Can
the
you
people.
do that? You can do that from one direction. After all, Arunachal, Nagaland, north to south, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, and Mizoram all have common borders with Myanmar,
Yeah,
and they have ethnicities that side, right from Rakhine states upwards. So why don't we use this linkage? Somehow we don't seem to be doing that. Why don't we use the linkage through Russia? We don't seem to be doing that. Why don't we do it through Quad? We don't seem to be doing that. Why don't we do it with the Indo-Myanmar good relations we have? We don't seem to be doing that. All these can put together can result in some. It's not a matter of dealing with who's in power there. It's a matter of how do you help them to get out of their own situation. And if
stabilize.
and if the history of this country says that the chap with a gun is going to rule, you might as well deal with him.
Fair enough.
Look, let me give a parallel. People will say, "Oh, how can you talk?" Didn't we deal with all the militant groups in India? Same terrain, same ethnicity, same thinking, same tribal thinking. It's
Absolutely.
there also. You didn't deal with the common public. You dealt with the guy who held the gun. You're dealing still. You're still dealing with a guy who's dealing with in many of these. Still, your democracy took hold, and you are now on the ascendant. If you went back 10 years, 15 years back into the northeast, or even before that, you only dealt with a guy or with who had held the gun. The political dialogue was with them till other things have now taken over. The change has taken over. It's taken nearly 4 to 5 decades for the change to happen in Northeast, and it's
Absolutely.
fully not happened. So if you think just because one election is held, one chief in Myanmar said, "Let this lady come through," and she was actually as bad as the army, her behavior. So what? So deal with anyone who's there. I mean, one has to be pragmatic in how we deal with Myanmar. Okay, and help
The
that guy. Look, you get that guy on your side. Let him be dependent on you. Let him be dependent on India for many things. Okay, he will behave, and then maybe democracy will come in.
Even if not, sir, I mean, each country has its own way of
Yeah,
doing things.
yeah. I mean,
I
look,
somehow don't buy the whole function that every place has to be a democracy.
we firstly, I don't think that is also our
Interests, even.
expectation. I will not say
Expectation.
interest, expectation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But even in the current state, are we dealing with Myanmar?
Big question.
That is my question. Okay, and we need to.
Indeed, sir. I think there's
Yeah,
no two disagreements with that. And if it's just the optics of it, I think that is completely rubbish, because if you look towards your western side, you're dealing with nothing but
yeah,
dictatorships. So
yeah.
it's
Yeah, if you remember, we spoke about this in an incident called Wings of Fire.
yes, sir.
Yeah, when you
India's
put
doing
this
that.
video out, I would suggest you put that link also
I'll
so that
link
people,
that.
yeah,
uh,
link that because
This
the
one we've
situation,
actually
yeah, the
discussed in quite
situation,
a detail. Yes.
yeah, we did discuss this in a lot of detail, and has things changed from then to now? After all, that video I think is what, a year old, we,
Yes, sir.
huh? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
1 साल हो गया.
About 8 months after the coup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that, and we did a detailed thing. And this is a second follow up. And I mean, this is of course we are covering the larger neighborhood because we have not done that for a long time, and we need to. Right? I mean, it's nice to get all of
All these countries in one
all
go,
other
sir.
countries, and it's nice to talk of Ukraine and all. It doesn't affect us. This affects us. We are there next door.
Directly.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
the
which is the other
next
country we're
the
going to
next
talk
two, I
to?
want to take them together because they together present a military threat to the national security of India, which is
Yeah.
Bhutan and Nepal. Um,
I'll Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Adi.
so
Bhutan and Nepal. But today, I think we'll leave Bhutan where it is. Okay. I would rather focus on Nepal.
Nepal.
Nepal, as of now, at this point of time, elections are going on. Okay. And,
Hmm.
I must narrate a very interesting incident to you. As I'm here in USA at this point of time. I come to stay with our we've come to stay with our son and daughter-in-law and our grandson. Uh, I went to a local store and this the billkeeper in that local Indian store was a Nepali, and I went at a time when there was no one, and I heard this fellow listening to some news on his mobile, and suddenly I realized he's listening to Nepalese news, and he's listening to voting in Nepal, where I'm getting to. As of now, there is voting going on in Nepal for their general elections. The outcome of this general elections is interesting. Uh, Now, when I spoke to this Stoke like Nepali guy, I asked him, "Look, who's going to win, and what will be the thing?" He says, "Sir, I hope no party wins. I hope all independents come and get together and take Nepal in the right direction." This guy
That's
is living in the outskirts of San Francisco, and you know, he says we don't have jobs, nothing in Nepal. We have to go to India. We have to go everywhere. We have to go to. We are like working all over. We don't have education. We don't have anything. So the situation in Nepal internally is tricky.
there's
Uh,
dissatisfaction amongst people.
yeah. So how Nepal votes for itself and how it will come out uh, is a million-dollar question. To me, there are a lot of opportunity because the natural, what shall I say, connect between for Nepal is India, being the only Hindu kingdom. culturally, ethnically, even geographically. Because on the other side, China can keep building roads, tracks, and railway lines and all that, but there's nothing. And the Chinese are actually alien to Nepalese.
Hmm.
It's the Tibetans who are more akin, right?
Akin. Hmm.
Whereas half of, I mean, Hinduism is one part of the story, but the bottom of Nepal, that the Terai region, is
Right.
absolutely akin to either Uttar Pradesh or Himachal, and also to some extent Bengal and Bihar.
Bihar.
I won't say some extent, large tracts. Okay, so people have क्या धोती बेटी का relationship there. So you have greater links. Whether we, depending on the outcome of the elections, what we do there, we don't. I mean, is something to be watched. The outcome of the elections itself will be critical. And considering the fact that China is pressurizing Nepal for that railway track, and I am worried about that railway track. It might not happen now. It might happen after 15, 20 years. It takes that much time to get. But if a railway track comes down to the foothills, you might find the PLA at the foothills of India.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have to be very proactive with Nepal, and I, I'm using the word proactive. Okay, um, at the same time, we cannot go to them as overbearing. So you have, Nepal is a critical country as far as I'm concerned uh, in dealing with China, and it's a huge neighbor for us, right? We don't understand, but it's a huge mass of territory, and one of the it affects our water security also. It
Indeed.
has problems of climate, many things, disasters. Yeah. For someone who's done, flood relief when Kosi is in spate, you understand the problems India can face from Nepal.
Yes, sir.
Not because Nepalese want it, because they can't do anything. These rivers have to be tamed there in that area. Only then we are in this thing. We can do whatever we want within our own, but we need to do in Nepal, and they can't do it because they don't have the either the political will or the capacity to do it.
Yeah, natural is pretty bad. So the river, especially, I mean,
Hmm.
the Lipu Lake, the entire incident is because the damn rivers changed course. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Kala, Kali River.
Kali River.
Yeah,
So it's I mean that situation is critical there. And
yeah, yeah.
for me, the major threat that I see is China in terms of military, as you very clearly said. If they reach the Tarai, that's like, you
Oh,
know,
that is huge, and we need to be cognizant of it. And that is you. They don't have to fight. They don't have to do anything. They're sitting on your border. Okay,
absolutely. And that's an
right?
extended border then, first and
Yeah.
foremost.
So there's a problem there.
So, guys, I know there's a lot of questions that you guys have put out, a lot of comments here. We will go through that. But before that, please hit the like button, subscribe, bell icons, and if you can, please do join in as a member or send us super stickers just to support the Dev Talks efforts. So, the first question I'm going to put out, uh, you know, Thiran says, why is the CCP confident of waging war when their economy is bad?
Look, I don't want to get involved with the Chinese thing. We're talking of the neighborhood, but let me
But
tell
it,
you, but the CCP doesn't isn't interested in war at this point of time. So let's not we'll leave it at that because that's a different subject. Yeah.
he also actually asked this question.
Mm.
Sri Lanka, actually, it's a comment. Army is already deployed in Sri Lanka to control the protests. There are a lot of protests happening even now.
Yeah, I agree with him. There are protests. Only thing they're not coming out. They're being suppressed. Being suppressed badly. If things go bad, we can go back to the old situation. Sri Lanka is a tinderbox. There's nothing stable in it. It's not. There's nothing stable as it in you know Sri Lanka. That's why I said I made this point. Mr. Ranil Vikramsinghe is concentrating on economy, how to get money, how to do wheeling dealing at the top. The fundamental political issue has not been resolved. If that doesn't get resolved, Sri Lanka will go back to where it is, and
Right.
that's one of the reasons why uh, this thing. So he's more biased to the economy. Unless there is a parallel approach to right the economy as also to take it forward politically, they are in trouble.
That's what the main thing is, because you don't kind of see any sort of calming down of the
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
happening.
Politically, things are not. I agree with Vinod what he says.
So, good evening, sir. How effective is ASEAN, BIMSTEC, SARC organizations, because they only do pointless meetings and futile discussions?
They're not very effective. SARC, any case, is out of the equation with
Oh,
Pakistan
yeah.
where it is. Yeah, it's only BIMSTEC which has got value. ASEAN has got no value in this area, except in Myanmar, and there Myanmar is not prepared to listen to ASEAN. BIMSTEC has got some hope of. It doesn't have political, or I would say, weight, but it could have economic and cultural weight and things like that. But then India has to do its trick. India has to do its trick within this. Like, so don't expect in the thing which India can drive really is BIMSTEC. As I said, that's the only hope we have. How we manage
BIMSTEC.
it is our thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an important point. I absolutely, sir. Isn't it a tragedy that a good-willed country like India is likely to be backstabbed by almost everybody? Do you think we should distrust Bangladesh like Pakistan?
Look, let me put it this way: we are might be good-willed, uh, and the backstabbing, you know, too harsh a word. There have been times in India's history where we've not been kind to our neighbors.
Indeed.
Okay, and we are the bigger country. We should have taken them along. Why we've not been kind is different because probably we were ourselves in problems. Um, so I think we need to know that as we grow big and rise, we should know how to take these chaps along. And we shouldn't. One of our problems is we've not been benevolent to our neighbors. Then really, like, and other thing is, like I said, everything comes from internal thing. When we have internal problems, human, linguistic, ethnic, religious, how do you expect them to be stable? I mean,
It's a
okay,
small
if
country, but they still have divisions. Yeah.
they have divisions and you are a big country with big divisions, you can't control your own stuff, and something else happens there. Uh, so I don't know whether we're being backstabbed or we've stabbed ourselves in our own back. We need to do a lot of introspection. And the next thing is, look, if you're staying next to a big animal, no, you can't go and sleep next to a bear and say the bear shouldn't hurt me. The bear will turn anywhere it wants it if it is sleeping. If you go attend to the bear, you'll get crushed. So you're like a
Mm.
bear,
To
okay,
them, yeah.
to them. It doesn't matter whether you're violent or not. It doesn't matter if they're next to you and you whichever way you turn hurts them. So that is something which we have to be cognizant of. We can't play the victim in this. Let's be very clear. The time for India to play the victim is gone.
Gone.
If you have the strategic confidence, you have the big heart, you're growing as a big nation, you need to think big. Everyone is not your enemy. If everyone is your enemy, forget it. यार तुम ना power हो ना, you are only a power with no power. Okay, you can only be a power outage, permanent basis. So let's have confidence in ourselves. Okay.
I think one thing interesting you hinted towards, that this big brotherly is not, you have to deal with them like equals, give them
Yeah,
the
give
respect.
them the due, give them the thing, and take them along with you. Yeah.
That's what America does to the other countries,
A
and
lot
that
of countries.
also,
Yeah, you look at the NAFTA. You know, so there's a model there.
yeah, indeed. Interesting, sir. Pakistan from a flood situation will now move to a very severe water crisis.
Yeah, there is.
And
That's on the cards. They're going to be endemically short of water. and that is their future. Like I said, Pakistan में जो हो रहा है, I don't know um, whether these politicians, like we said, there are two different levels at which Pakistan exists. One is the political and geopolitical level, one is the poverty level and the lack of water, etc., etc., etc. They don't seem to have a connect.
So
So all the best to them.
Mandar says there's a Pakistan in the 15th century Islamic golden period, and there's a Pakistan that is living in the 21st century poverty.
Possible, because they have to decide whether they are, from Hindustani descent. I said this in another thing with Jaipur dialogues. But what are the Pakistanis? Are they Arabic? They're Turkic? They're Persian? They look West, but हैं तो Hindustani है ना.
A confused bunch of people,
See,
sir.
you have to understand Indus, 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 Indus से Indi से India. That's a lineage of India. Yeah. Let's be very clear. People who Sindhu River, Sindhu turned to Hindu. So they should know what they are. So till that fracture or the schism in them doesn't disappear, they'll be there like that, and I don't think it will disappear.
This is an interesting question. So, what if Sheikh Hasina loses power?
Yes, someone will come. We have to deal with them if it happens. She's
Hint, I think.
look. She's not permanent. We should know. Uh,
Mhm.
at some point of time, some politician will lose power. You think Modi is permanent? He might not be. India operates in funny ways, right? At some point of time, he'll also go. So there'll be an India after Modi. People said, "Who? What after Indira Gandhi?" Someone came. So someone will come. वहाँ भी वैसे ही होगा, and we deal with them. India
The
has to deal with Bangladesh as a nation to a nation, not an individual to an individual.
I think his care is about the Islamists taking power. I
Yeah,
mean,
वैसे थोड़ी ना होगा. That's why I said we have the fear of failure. Let's go with the hope of success.
hope of success. Thank you, sir. India's lacked strategic vision for a long time. I think you've elucidated
Yeah,
that very, very
I
clearly.
think we need to go hereafter. Unless we change this concept, we need to change. Yeah.
So this gentleman has written a two-part this thing. So bear with me. Good evening, sir. Being from Tripura, northeastern state, we know that, my friend, you're it always feels whatever government is in the center, it just doesn't do enough for our connectivity issue, even after 75 years of independence. And he also says, whereas a permanent rail link through Bangladesh would have helped all the northeast states to get connected to the mainstream India physically more quickly. I would like to hear your views on this. I
Yeah.
think this is a brilliant
Uh,
comment.
yeah. Baumek, let me tell you, I know North, Tripura is from the northeast. I commanded my brigade there in Agartala, and my headquarters in a place called Lichi Bagan, which is just opposite the High Court there, new High Court, which has come up there.
If you're
Okay.
from around there, drop a message.
Yeah, right. So I know what you're talking of. The
Yeah.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, if you landing in Agartala airport, you approach Agartala airport through Bangladesh, and when the aircraft is landing, you look out of the window, you see a fence, and that fence is Indo-Bangladesh border. It's as close, right? You get out of Agartala, you're in Bangladesh. What he says is a fundamental truth.
Absolutely.
Connectivity through northeast, uh, increases a hell of a lot. But we've always had problems with Bangladesh. Earlier Pakistan, then Bangladesh for a long time. If you remember, Bangladesh had dictators. It had a lot of problems. Virtually an anti-India government. It is only now that we're coming better, better, better. Things have improved, and with what it is. So I hope that what Bhaumik has said happens. And I'm sure all of us who were in the government, and we've discussed this earlier, how to happen. Things are moving in the right direction. Will it happen tomorrow, day after? I don't know. Are we confident? Like I said, it all comes from the kind of confidence we can infuse in our neighbors. It also has something to do with India's own rise. My view is in the next 10 to 15 years, I think we should see this happen. Already our flights go across Bangladesh, and
Yeah.
uh, earlier, once upon a time, that even that was not allowed.
Air
Things are,
corridor is open.
yeah, now things are looking up. Let's hope for the best. I do hope it for the best because, look, I'll take it to a larger level. There are very few of us who have served in the Northeast, who know the Northeast, who have been in the Northeast. It's a beautiful place. I love Northeast. I've had 4 or 5 tenures in the Northeast, all over Arunachal, Tripura, Assam, South Assam. It- People are amazing, uh, and they lack connectivity, and that obviously uh, makes them feel alienated. But things have changed. A lot of things have changed. I can recount my journey in Northeast over the past 40 years, how things have changed. But that's for a different day. But I hope things improve. Better. It's not that they're bad. We should be better than what we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He
Progress.
says
The word I would say is progress. We have to progress better from here. Yeah.
he says he's from Pasinagar, Panisagar, sorry.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he says thank you so much for acknowledging and you know,
Yeah. We should know where we have a problem. Yeah.
yeah. We need a port link to the northeast, either to Bangladesh or Myanmar. So there was something happening about
Yeah,
this.
that it is at Kaladan multimodal port.
Mhm.
We had to have that Kaladan port and then a land bridge to Mizoram and all that. But that's stuck. I've been hearing it for the past 10 years. So there are many ways through Kaladan, then you through Bangladesh, uh, through Myanmar and Bangladesh. But uh, we had to progress. That's all. That's all I can say. We need to do it. There are no two
Yeah.
ways about it. Yeah.
Last couple of questions. So this is an interesting one. Coco Islands, which
I
presents
I
a
really don't know at this point of time. I'll be very honest. What exactly is on Coco Islands? Let me pass. Let me take a pass on this.
fair enough, sir. And the last one, it says, will bankruptcy in Pakistan will be an asset as IEA along with IMF will deal to take away the nuclear weapons from them?
Let's see how it happens. Pakistan is already bankrupt. उसके पास तो कुछ है ही नहीं. So let
I
us see.
think one observation, sir, we in India always feel that कुछ ना कुछ हो जाए पाकिस्तान के ये जो न्यूक्लियर बन जाए वहां से.
Look. Let me also put it this way: that nuclear weapons it also controls Pakistan internally today.
Yeah,
Okay, there'll be a wrangle for internal power over nuclear power, nuclear assets, and etc. X, Y, Z. That's a different story. But let's not get hyped about their nuclear weapons. They're uh, okay. That's why I said you leave Pakistan. Let them fester. Let that wound fester within. That's the best safety. Whether they have nuclear weapons or not, it doesn't matter.
my last question, sir. I think you've hinted to this a couple of times, and there is a we don't see we've got the Ministry of External Affairs that deals with foreign relations and stuff like that. I personally think that as a conceited effort to deal with the Indian neighborhood, there has to be a neighborhood ministry or something which is responsible for keeping contact with our neighbors, regular contact, regular meetings, regular interactions, regular help, and wherever it is required. For example, Myanmar. I mean,
Look, I don't think we can have a ministry exactly for our
not
neighbors.
that, but a section
No,
that deals with
I'm
something.
sure there is within the Foreign Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs. There are people who deal with this. They might be having their own constraints. That's a different story. There are politics involved. Uh, well, we can give a feedback. Say, look, it's not happening the way it should,
Yeah, fair
right?
enough.
And they need to have a shift to be more active in the Northeast. Okay. In fact, that's what I said. That article which today I put out, China's strategy in the Northeast, something which I would request everyone to read. It's out in the Ghana Shot. It's also in the Sunday Guardian. That article. It puts the Northeast in perspective and the importance of Northeast in perspective, which many of us don't understand. Okay. So have a look at it, and I'm open to comment suggestion. Maybe in the next episode of a neighborhood, we'll take it up.
Indeed, sir. Sir, thanks so much. But there's a question that the Pakistanis always ask, saying that हमारा श्रीलंका की तरह हालत तो नहीं होगा. And
Bye.
there's a question that I want to ask. It's just a light-hearted comment, but I think there's some time that when Sri Lankans are going to ask, यार हमारा पाकिस्तान की तरह हालत तो नहीं
हालत
होगा.
तो नहीं होगा. That's a good
So,
one. 100%, Adi.
so
Yeah.
it's a bit of a chaos, as a matter of fact, as far as the neighborhood is concerned, and we kind of seem to keep it away from our main news. We are like passing reference. Of course, Pakistan is more into our focus. There's a extended Indian neighborhood that we've not discussed in terms of Afghanistan, in terms of
Yeah, we'll leave it
Central
at that.
Asia, and
Maybe
so
next
on and
time.
so forth. Yeah, but it's a very important thing, and I think we should discuss it more often, sir. And
Yep,
I'll
we
try
will.
and kind of get it more often, because the kind of questions that we've got also is interesting, because you get all sorts of perspectives, and
Yeah, I
especially
agree with you.
Bishal. Thanks so much. I mean, it's so nice to hear somebody from the Northeast being a part of this discussion and putting a perspective from the Northeast about a discussion about the Northeast. So that's very interesting, because I wish we had somebody from Sri Lanka joining in and saying, "Yeah,
Yeah, he did. I think
what we."
Vinod
I
was
think
from
I'm not sure,
Dhiren.
but
Yeah, yeah, Dhiren Vinod, I'm sure is from Sri Lanka.
yeah. So it's a nice discussion to have. Of course, Pakistan, I'd rather keep away at the moment, because, anyways, mind you, sir, if I may add, 2% of my entire viewership comes from Pakistan, by the way. So somebody's watching me there.
Yeah, you're a famous guy in Pakistan.
I
All the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the effort and the coverage of the entire neighborhood, sir. Till next time for another fiery subject. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind. Thank you.